Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Weekend Wrap Up, the news that matters. I'm David Thomas, and across from me is Mr. Josh Blevins. Josh, had a busy week.
Busy week, had a few things going on. Honestly, we got probably one hot topic and then another bunch of smaller, not so hot topics. So, yeah.
Hot topics.
Hot topics. We got
I
one
couldn't
hot
imagine.
topic. Yeah, I don't know. Hard to believe. Hard to believe. I know if you've not been paying attention, you wouldn't know there was a hot topic, but there might be one that we'll definitely get to here in a bit.
You got up early this morning, didn't you?
Honestly, I overslept, but I did still make it to the VFW breakfast.
Okay.
Yes, I did. I had my
What
breakfast.
time did that thing start? 7?
They start at 7. I rolled in about 8:30, but, I was
You slacker.
fashionably late.
But you got your coffee this morning.
I got my coffee. I got my Southern Cup. It's a nice day out. It's going to be a little warm today. A little ice cream supper coming up later in the day down in Ross.
Yeah,
Going to eat some homemade ice cream. So it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Living the
So,
dream.
yeah. All right. Well, anything else going on this morning that you've
Locally, no, I don't. If there is, I've missed it. So
Yeah.
I don't.
All right.
I don't know of any other big
Well-
events. But when you have the Ross ice cream supper, which only happens once a year, that kind of ties up that Saturday. I think
nobody else is planning anything except for the
You're not
VFW
gonna-
break? No,
yeah,
you're not
you
going to
wouldn't
cut into
compete
that.
with that. You
No.
don't want to compete with that. So
No.
who's going to turn down homemade ice cream?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, before we dive into the news that matters
Yeah.
this morning, Josh, let's just give a shout out to our sponsors, the Cutting Edge Optical
Yep.
Group out on North Main Street, and Dennis Young Insurance, of course, out on Madison Street for all
Yes.
your insurance needs, and then the Dream Team, the Arnolds, with Coldwell Banker
Right.
for all your real estate needs.
All your real estate.
We
needs.
got it
I don't
all
even- I don't
covered.
even know what street they're on, but they're probably on any street if you're looking to buy something. So,
Right. If you need to see, you go to Cutting Edge Optical,
Yeah.
and you buy your property and your home from the Arnolds.
And then you go get it
They
insured.
go get
by
it
Dennis
insured
Young.
at Dennis Young. Got it all covered right there. But the
We're all
key
good.
thing is being able to see all that first.
Yeah. Yeah. So go get your eyes checked first.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's hear. Yeah. It all ties together.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a break. Hear from our sponsors. We'll be back to dig into the news that matters.
Sounds good.
For clear vision and trusted care, choose Cutting Edge Optical. We offer comprehensive eye exams powered by 20/20 exams, expert contact lens fittings, and a wide selection of quality frames to match your style and budget. Need glasses fast? We even offer same-day eyeglasses to keep you seeing clearly without the wait. Our experienced team is committed to personalized service and helping you see your best every day. Visit Cutting Edge Optical at 1114 North Main Street in Shelbyville, or call 931-488-5778 to schedule your appointment today.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
When you're ready to buy or sell in Middle Tennessee, you want someone who knows this community inside and out. Meet Diane and Madison Arnold, Shelbyville's trusted real estate team with decades of local experience and award-winning results. Whether it's finding your dream home, pricing your property to sell, or navigating every step of the transaction with confidence, they're with you from start to finish. As part of Coldwell Banker Southern Realty, they pair hometown expertise with powerful market tools to help you move with confidence. Call Diane and Madison today and experience the personal service and local knowledge that makes all the difference.
All righty. Welcome back into the news that matters on the weekend wrap up. Before we dive into the news that matters, Josh, I want to just tell everybody why it matters. You start to see the stuff that we cover every week. Josh, you're going to a lot of meetings that decisions are made, votes are taken, that affects everybody's lives in the county and those people that live in the city. And I think a lot of times people just glance over this and don't really take a look at what's going on. So that's the reason we call this show The News That Matters, because it does matter to our lives directly.
It does.
Take it away, Josh.
I'm going to call an audible, David. I'm going to go out of order here and not in the direction you think I'm going to go.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yes,
All right.
I normally would lead with a hot button topic, but I'm going to lead with good news and then get into the hot button topic instead.
Is that what you consider the hot topic to be bad news?
I don't know that it's bad news. It's just the hot topic.
Okay,
So,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. So I'm going to lead with good news. We started, I spent my Wednesday morning, I got to the square at 7 a.m. and had my normal Wednesday morning breakfast. And by the time I walked off the square, it was 2:00 p.m., David. So
Wow.
it was do the math. I think I was there 7 hours. And there were a number of good things
Wait a
that are
minute.
going on
Wait a
here
minute.
locally.
Wait a minute. Wait a
Yeah,
minute. Did they give you any food?
there was food at a couple of these events. Yeah, actually, I had two different. There were two different things. That
So
involved food,
Josh
so.
Blevins stayed there 7 hours. You
Yes.
got fed.
I
in the
got fed.
process.
I got
All
fed.
right,
I was
good.
not-
I was
not
getting
starved.
worried.
I got fed. I got
I was
fed.
getting
I got fed.
worried.
I got fed.
Okay.
We the big event was called Shelbyville 2075 Legacy in Motion. We started. This was sponsored by, paid by, put together by Cooper Steel. They started this back over a year ago.
Yeah.
I was involved in this. A lot of people in the city were involved in this. And this was a look at what we can do in the city of Shelbyville and even broader into Bedford County to move the local economy, the local lifestyle, to move things forward for the next 50 years. This was prepared by a company called TIP Strategies out of Texas. They came in, we had a bunch of meetings, we had a bunch of workshops. They did a bunch of surveys, a bunch of online. And they came back with a document, a 50-year plan that set out 4 goals: quality of place, economic growth, talent pipeline, and tourism. And in that interim period, when this started, it was Cooper Steel was the driving force and still is. But in that time period, we've had Bridge Bedford, which has come up, which that's a nonprofit that just had the 5K on the square. And they're doing a lot of good things. They're out looking for grants. They're out doing things. So not just did we have the 50-year plan, but there's a lot of things that are in there. If you read it, if you go into our Facebook from earlier this week, there's a link to the PDF. A lot of the things in there are already happening or starting to happen, including the soccer park, including a lot of things. But one really good thing, and we got a lot of comments and feedback on this that's happening, is on the tourism side of things. Cooper Steel came in and they made an announcement at this event. We knew it was coming, but we'd been holding until they did. They're going to have Walking in a Winter Wonderland at Cooper Steel Arena starting November 21st through January 2nd. I'm going to go ahead and read their description just because I pulled it down. It's a month-long holiday destination. It's going to feature lights, family activities, community gathering spaces, seasonal entertainment, opportunities to create lasting memories. This is something that's going to be first time ever here, something new to Shelbyville. This was part of what they found in the 50-year plan, that we need more tourism happening here locally, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. They didn't just make a plan, they're actually going out and implementing it.
Right.
So the city's on board. In our budget that we're about to pass, I think we're going to be I don't know that they've set names for these sponsorships. We're going to be up at the whatever the premier sponsor, whatever you want to call it. The city's going in at $25,000. They're looking for other businesses to come in and partner with them. They would like to not just decorate the arena. They'd like to have the road coming in, lit up. They want to decorate all the horse barns out there, have companies sponsor all that. There's going to be outdoor stuff happening at the Champions Arena there. They're going to have bounce houses and stuff for the kids to do. It's going to be a minimal charge to get inside Cooper Steel Arena. We'll be to walk around, a light show, unlike anything that's ever happened here in town for a walk-through light show. There's going to be an ice rink. We can get down ice
I was
skate.
going to ask you.
I'm not going to be ice skating. I'm not going to be ice skating.
I just wondered if they were
Yeah.
going to disclose all the different
Yeah.
activities
Yeah.
on the front end here, and they are.
Yes,
They
yeah,
are already
so there's-
promoting this.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
they are. So so there's going to be ice skating. There's going to be a lot of stuff you can do. It's going to be something good, something new, and their hope is, and I think they're right, that other businesses, particularly some of the names that
Yeah.
that regularly support stuff here locally, are going to come
So,
on board
I-
and work together. And this is a way so that you don't have to drive to what's the drive to Lebanon,
the Dancing
and go
Lights.
to the Dancing Lights.
Yeah.
You don't have to, and you can obviously still
Well,
go
you can
there.
still do that,
But maybe we'll have somebody from Lebanon may drive down here to go to our light show.
I
Or maybe
think
somebody from
you know,
Nashville.
you can promote
yeah.
this all you want to, but until
Yeah.
people start coming, and then they go back and tell their friends
They're
and
gonna tell their
family what a
friends,
high class atmosphere it is.
Yeah.
Just think about this: an ice skating rink in Cooper Steel Arena in the city of Shelbyville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
What other town our size would have an ice skating rink set up? It's not.
I don't
You're
know
not
of
going to
any.
drive around and find that. Very
No, you're not
often,
going to
Josh.
find it too many places. So no, I just that was because we're going to get into some heavier topics. I thought I would lead with that. I thought that was some good news that we could start with, and that's something for people to
Okay.
be looking forward to, and something that they can put on their calendar. So, and I definitely I hope to spend some time there myself. So, now let's jump.
I got
into,
an idea.
yes,
I want since we're going to have an ice skating rink here,
yeah,
I want to see, could we put together a commissioners on ice, Bedford County commissioners on ice, and just have an ice hockey game and divide them up into two
I'll just
teams?
split them up and have them play.
They're
hockey.
kind of split up right now. Let's just have an ice hockey.
have
game.
hockey.
Let's skate on over to your next topic.
Let's do that, because I'm not getting on skates. I'll fall
All right.
injure myself. So let's run through what did happen locally as far as government news, which is what we cover mainly here. Monday evening, the city council met. We had city budget workshop number 2. And honestly, we didn't have a whole lot to discuss because we spent 2 hours on it the week before, and we pretty much had made our decisions.
Yeah.
So this will be voted on June 30th. The new city budget will be. It looks like we're headed in the direction we are going to adopt and we voted to adopt the new pay plan with the new step system for firefighters and the new trying to get everybody on board up near close to the median.
Oh, step system
Yeah.
doesn't sound good. Can y'all change the name of that to something else?
It has
People
nothing
are
to do
going
with
to
that.
get confused and say now the city
Yeah.
is promoting step systems.
No, it's not that type
Okay,
of step
okay.
system. No, this is just if you've been in the fire department a certain number of years, you're at a different
Right.
classification, which pays more.
Okay, so what does this do to our overall budget, and what's it going to do to our taxes?
it does nothing to the taxes this year.
This year is the key word.
As far as the overall budget, we should end the year with the number they're giving us in the budget, I believe, is a 21 or 22% fund balance at the end as far as the reserve. Honestly, we're going to be higher than that because they're conservative with all these estimates.
Yeah.
So that's what they're showing us on paper. So that's what's happening there. That'll be voted on June 30th. Tuesday evening was the big one. This is the hot button meeting. This was the monthly county commission meeting. There was one particular topic that we'll get to in like 2 seconds, but I did just want to cover the fact that there was one that kind of surprised me. They had received a request for $1,500 to contribute to the city county Juneteenth celebration that's happening on this coming Friday and Saturday, actually. And they actually denied it. It was in the finance committee for 2 months in a row. And the first month they came up with some questions on which nonprofit would get the check. So they deferred it a month. And then it came back the second month and they decided who would get the check. So they had a resolution written and it came right out of finance unanimously. And then it got on the floor and they just voted it down. So the reason given on the floor was this is an event and we want you to come in earlier and request this as part of the budget process. But there was another event, which was the Veterans Health Fair that did what they just asked on this one to do. They asked during the budget process, and they got turned down as well. So I'm wondering if maybe they're not wanting to really expand what they're doing in the nonprofit arena. I know that's a bit of a slippery slope. The
Yeah.
city council has done that. And it wasn't me, it was council before us, but they cut off the ability to just write checks to nonprofits.
Yeah, and
every
this
budget
gets
year.
down. It's not that
Yeah.
the city council and our county commissioners
Don't like
are
nonprofits.
anti. It's the fact that you've got tax dollars being used to give to charity when all of us are able to donate to charity as individuals.
Right.
We should be the ones stepping up
I think
instead
the
of
people
our
making
tax
those
money.
decisions.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
So,
think that's where I think most local governments are heading that direction because you're actually taking taxpayer money that could be used for the services that it's designed for. Instead, it's going to charity,
right.
and that's the little edge that
That's
you have
the
to-
edge that they're walking. So either way, they turned down that request, which I did not expect. So, but on to the one that everybody wants to know about. There was a vote taken on the senior property tax freeze. We may or may not have discussed this once or twice in the past. I want to lead off our discussion with an apology, which I promised to make, and I made online as well, to Commissioner Keith Davis, who I unceremoniously threw in the no
threw it.
vote camp.
The man,
He wasn't in there but about 15 minutes, but on the internet stuff lives forever.
I know.
And I really do apologize to him for that. I do want to explain how that happened, not as an excuse, just to let people know. unfortunately, going into this, I had a pretty good idea of what was going to happen Tuesday night. So we posted an article Tuesday. I personally posted the article right after the vote from within the room, sitting on the front row. And that article was not written on Tuesday. It was written on Monday.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of read the room before the room was even there. So in that article that I had written the night before, I had 10 people listed who had voted against it the previous month when it was referred back. And I deleted the wrong name off the list and left poor Commissioner Davis in there. So I do apologize to him for that. Like I said, we fixed it in 15 minutes, but the problem with the internet is it got screenshotted and it got shared all over a bunch of groups. And then we had to try to clean it
Here's
up.
what happened.
So,
I'm going to give you a graphic description of what happened. We pitched him under the bus and only ran over him once. All right. He was able to get up and get out from under the bus real quick while we kept going back and forth over and over and over.
We kept running over him. So, yeah. So we do apologize. Keith Davis, Commissioner Davis, he loves Granny. So he even said
does. He even said he
said
loves Granny. And I'm
So,
appreciative of him loving Granny.
yes, he does. So to the vote itself. I don't want to get too deep into this. You and Bo, I know, covered this early in the week. I will just say, and this is my personal opinion, I think the reason the vote happened like it did was political. I know you guys get into some of it.
Absolutely was.
There's a lot more angles than what you guys discussed earlier this week, but I'm not going to get into them because I do feel like this, although we lost this battle, I don't think the war is lost, and I think we may have another crack at this later in the year. So I'm going to refrain myself from saying some of the things I might like to say, and instead just let's talk about what was said on the floor. There was a prepared speech given about school funding as related to the tax freeze. Schools, and we have agreed with, and I have spoken on this, and we covered this earlier in the year. I am in complete agreement with Commissioner Boutwell. We've done a poor job on operational funding of our local school system. If you look at the stats, I mean, the stats don't lie. If you look at the last 10 years, we have been flatline on the dollars that we put into the school system. Now, that has not had a big negative impact on the school system that would have, because while we've been flat, the state's been
let me go this. We look at the amount per student. We're taking that number, and that's what we're using to say that we're the lowest.
As the metric. Yeah.
All right, the metric is off because our enrollment, per capita is higher probably than anybody in this Middle Tennessee area. If you took the per capita population and you looked at how many students per capita we have, we've got the highest ratio of anybody. So in turn, that takes that number and it makes it look smaller than what we're doing dollar wise. If you took the average, we would be in line with what the average county is doing around us. But because our enrollment is so high per capita, you look back at those numbers 3 years ago, I forget what it was, but we had 8,900 at the time. And you compare to Coffee County and their total enrollment was so much smaller than ours.
Right.
It was like 60% of ours.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
Right.
And you can argue why our enrollment's so high, and it's just the way things are.
Yeah.
And that enrollment is going down.
It is actually, our enrollment's going down, but back to the dollars. I'm going to agree with him still, though, that we could do better at funding our schools. Yeah. However, this program that was presented is not going to have a negative impact on the school budget in any way, shape, or form. He read off, which we talked about this last week, the fiscal note.
Right.
We got the fiscal note. And he took, as I expected would happen, the biggest number off the fiscal note, which I believe was $2.4 million, and said, this is in 10 years from now, this is going to cost us $2.4 million. Let's explain what that number meant and where that came from. That number was an estimate of if we raise property tax 20% twice in the next 5 years, and on top of that, then take 10 years of all those expenses,
right,
multiply them all together and throw them into a bucket, the cumulative estimate was $2.4 million over 10 years, which was, do the math, it's about $240,000 a year. it ain't ever going to get there because we're not going to do 2 back-to-back 20% property tax increases.
Unless they're
Unless-
planning on this
Well, I don't think
behind the scenes
I don't think-
somewhere.
hopefully nobody's planning on 2 back-to-back 20%.
It wouldn't shock me a
property
bit
tax.
out of
Well,
some of these folks.
Well, either way, that and then that was compared to the lawsuit, which is hanging out there, which everybody
Yeah.
knows about the lawsuit. That is $2 million a year. The lawsuit is. So you're going to take a 10-year cumulative ball of money that doesn't exist, and you're going to compare that and then say, oh, somehow we're going to affect schools. The actual cost that they were looking at this meeting, which was on the same sheet of paper, it was on the other side for the one he was reading. The implementation cost for this budget year was $115,000.
And that's not right.
So
I'm going to
Yeah.
argue that that's about double what it's really going to cost.
it
in my
is, but
opinion.
they did have to allow for that in the budget. Commissioner Neely gave a good speech.
Oh, yeah.
We would have played the clip this morning, but I think she went for like 5 minutes, and we're not going to sit here for 5
Oh,
minutes. But
she like
everybody's
laid it right
watched
out.
it. So yeah, everybody's watched her speech. There are a number of line items that they could have easily picked up out of the budget that they're looking at right now that's not been adopted and found $115,000 without cutting a position that exists, without cutting a department, without cutting a service. There's a number of positions that have been listed in there for years, or line items. I think she read off some miscellaneous just in case salary numbers. These are unfilled things that have never been filled, that are likely never will be, that easily could have got
Right.
to that 115 number. On the flip side, and I gave a little quote to the paper. It ran on, I think, the Times Gazette website. We regularly, in both the city and the county government, pass huge expenses with almost no discussion.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 6-figure, 7-figure,
Yeah.
8-figure. Right after this tax freeze discussion happened, they passed the 4th budget amendment of this year. In that budget amendment, they moved around a bunch of unspent money to get $500,000 or $600,000 into EMS. They didn't specify what piece of equipment. I'm thinking it may be for the $1.1 million fire truck that
Right.
they're trying to save up for. And I'm not saying that piece of equipment, I would not cut that piece of equipment. I'm just saying that they were able to find quickly in one amendment $500,000 or $600,000 that hadn't been spent or had come
It's
from
kind of
different
laying
places
around.
to put towards this piece of equipment. But you've got a program that's going to help a segment of the population, your low income seniors, and we're going to fuss and throw a fit over, finding funding for that.
Yeah.
The other thing I've heard after the fact, this wasn't mentioned during the meeting, this has come out from people afterwards that are trying to justify the vote, was, oh, the timing was off, the timing was off, the timing was off. It is never a bad time to do the right thing. So
No.
timing was as good or better than it could have been. I realize it's an election year. You don't stop work for an election year.
Nope.
And the other thing on the timing was, oh, we don't have a tax increase coming this year, so let's not do it. The problem is, if you get to next year and you are looking at a tax increase, you're too late. You can't
Yeah.
freeze it the same year you have the tax increase, because they'll be frozen at the high number, not the low number.
Yep.
So that was the timing issue. That's why it was brought now. Like I said, I don't feel like, and I may be wrong and I may just be naive and, overly optimistic. I feel like we're about to get a new commission in a couple months. There may be one more crack at this that's able to be taken in the fall. So I'm going to stay positive and say that hopefully we can come back and try this with a new group of people. Do want to give a little explanation on the city side, because I did hear this from some people. Why didn't you guys go ahead and vote it at the council? In order to implement this program, it is the work burden does fall on 2 county departments. Legally, we could, and I don't know that we have or don't have the votes in the council, we could go ahead and pass this.
Right.
But it does put work on, and that to me would be antagonistic to those people in the county that would have to do the work when the county hasn't agreed to this yet. I would prefer this should be a collaborative effort. This should not be hey, we're shoving something down somebody's throat. Everybody should be able to come together and help Granny. And
we need to help
and
Granny,
freeze
y'all.
property taxes for low
I
income
don't know how
seniors.
hard.
So,
I don't understand how you have to jump through all these hoops when we take much larger expenditures, and it's like it's whoof. Just let's do it. Everybody, let's go. Don't even call for a roll call vote on some of this stuff. It's just and let's go.
So-
And I think the people expected more, and I think there's a lot of people that's disappointed, and I think there's going to be a lot of people show up at the voting polls. in August and starting in July. I think more people are going to get out to vote because people are a little upset.
I hope so. I mean, and just apart from being upset, I just hope in general that we get better voter turnout. The last couple have been really
terrible.
bad. So anything that gets people out to vote, I think, is definitely a positive. So, so all that to say, I guess stay tuned.
Okay. Here's a question from
Yeah.
Brent Smith.
Uh-huh.
It says, during our candidate debate in Flat Creek, Linda Yockey said multiple employees would need to be hired and a new vehicle. Is that true?
Need to be hired is they did have to budget for 2 new employee positions because our 2 departments that had to handle this, their department heads requested
Okay,
it. So
based on some,
not based on, I'd heard somebody say the state required it.
No,
It was because those departments requested. Now, as far as the vehicle, no, absolutely not.
but let's go to reality, Josh. This is fiction over here. Let's go to what actual counties have done. Okay, based on your research with several counties,
10
counties.
Yeah.
The workload didn't seem to add up to this.
It did not. The only county that we heard from that had close to 2 full-time employees on the program was Rutherford, which had one. They counted 1.5 full-time equivalent employees,
For how many?
and they have, I believe, 7 times our population.
7 times our population.
Yeah,
So you would have to
so-
carry over 7 times the workload.
Yeah. So yeah, the counties that were closer to our size, it did not. Now the argument, and we've made this discussion before. I think the argument is if the department is already in their mind maxed out on workload, to get that bump up to handle the extra work, you've got to have a body of some kind. But that person would not be working 12 months out of the year, 40
No.
hours a week
No.
on this program. So to assign all of that cost to this program is really not fair to the program, for one thing. The other thing is there's nothing that requires you to only hire full-time equivalent
No.
12-month
Exactly.
employees. Several of these counties said, hey, we use a seasonal person.
Right.
We use a part-time person. There's other ways to attack
Based on
this
my
without-
my recollection, Josh, Coffee County spends
Yeah.
about 1,500 hours of workload on this. Is that correct? 10.
I
Well, no.
don't
Well, less than that.
remember
It was
Coffee
40 hours for
County.
10 weeks, I believe. So what is that?
Yeah.
400 hours.
Yeah,
workload.
that was another way you're talking about it. I believe it was Montgomery County. Yeah, they said 400 hours a year. That was for one of their 2 departments was 400 hours a year. So, which is not a full-time employee.
No,
for sure.
no.
And they were another one that was significantly.
So bottom
larger
line
than
of
we
this
are.
whole thing, Josh,
So-
and this is my take on it.
Yeah.
We created a big roadblock with the hiring of people, and it made this enormous roadblock look like it's going to cost a fortune to try to persuade people that we just can't afford this. That's the justification for the vote, and we can't take this out of the pockets of our school system. Okay, I'm going to call this what it is: fiction. Okay, that's a fiction story. All right, now,
Yeah. Let me real quick, because we had a couple of questions regarding what is this workload. Even before there is a tax increase, you've got to get people frozen on the program. So the workload is you would have roughly 700 seniors would have to walk into the trustee's office, and they have to present proof of their identity, proof that they own the piece of property, and proof of their taxes the previous year, what their income was.
front and
So
back form.
it was a single page, double-sided form, and then also they have to show that proof, which they need to
And they're the
keep a
ones,
copy
the
of.
people that are applying for this, are the ones doing the work, because they have to provide the documentation to prove this.
So they have to
and then
bring
they
it,
fill out a
and then you
form
need
and
to
run
have-
copies.
Yeah, you need to have a person that accepts that.
This is not manual labor. I mean, this is just basically
Well,
just some paperwork.
and then it's fed into a portal that the state manages and keeps set up. So you feed all that data into this portal, which is like basically an online form. That program from the state generates a 1-page report once a day that goes up to the assessor's office. They review the list of people that applied the previous day. They check the property and make sure that they're within the parameters
Yep.
of a tax freeze. If they're over 5 acres of property, they have to do the math to figure out how much the house and the 5 acres is worth and separate that out from the bigger piece
And
of
I'm
property.
sure there's some
That's-
technology out there that can do that on a.
there is.
Just
It's
like
it's
that.
some formula and spreadsheet
Boom,
work. So yeah,
boom.
so that's the work. It's office work. The deal with the vehicle was there was a thought that they need to go out and physically inspect these properties.
No.
I did contact again. I don't know that I got an assessor in every county. I'd say definitely 6 to 8 assessors that are currently on the program. They are not going out to see these properties individually each time it comes up, because they already see them in their assessment process that they do every 4 years. So there's no additional reason.
So Josh,
to
if we can't
to
set
view
up a
them.
spreadsheet,
So-
I'm sure our IT guy can use an Excel spreadsheet or some sort of.
Well, the
thing
state
to do
has
that.
all the tools. Yeah,
They
state
got the
provides
tools. Yeah,
tools.
okay, so
yeah, you just have
This
to
is
provide the people.
I'm
Yeah.
tearing down this argument of so
Yeah.
much work.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just based on what we're hearing from other counties.
Yeah, that's the that's the size of it. So we'll like I said, I'm still optimistic. We are going to have an
It
election
ain't dead.
in a few weeks.
It
We'll
is
have
not dead.
at least what do we got? A minimum of 5 new commissioners. I think we could have about a 50% turnover. So we'll see if anybody new's more willing to help. So
Except Granny.
that's what I'm hoping. So
Who loves Granny?
yeah,
That's the question.
after that, the only other thing, and man, I got to tell you, after the end of this meeting, I've never seen the county commission space clear out so fast. Usually, everybody hangs around and talks. Man, this place cleared out quick. So after
Can you blame them?
yeah,
If
so-
I'd voted no for that, I'd probably
Yeah,
be looking
yeah.
for a trap door somewhere.
Yeah, but before they cleared out, they did vote to approve amendments to both the school and the county budget for the year. These were the final. That was one I just talked about. The big change was there was a bunch of stuff moved around for some kind of EMS piece of equipment. It didn't specify. I'm thinking it was that fire truck. It may be a ambulance or something. A good thing that we definitely need, but something that was able to be done with a budget amendment. So let's go to, because I did Wednesday already. Let's jump to Thursday. Thursday, we had our monthly city council meeting. This may have been one of the shorter city council meetings I've been in. I think we only went 25 minutes. So,
Yeah.
we gave a couple of event sponsorships. That's not the right word for these. There's a word because this comes from Hotel Motel. It's to drive tourism. But either way, we gave $7,500 to the Bedford County Fair to help support their promotion of the fair, to
Yeah.
get more people at the fair, and $5,000 to Stars and Stirrups. This is an inaugural first-time event. This is a fundraiser for the walking horse industry. It is going to be also the first ever event, and hopefully the weather holds. It is going to be outdoor in the new Riverwalk space there off the square. So the new fancy concrete over there next to Glass Hollow
Yeah.
and Grindstone. So they're gonna rope that off or something and do a private event. It's a fundraiser. It is June 30th. I've seen people selling tickets online. I'm sure if you Google or look on Facebook, you
Yeah.
can find them. So I believe it's $150 tickets. So, and like I said, hopefully the weather holds, because it's a Eat Under the Stars event, which isn't
Yeah.
so much fun if it's raining. So yeah, so that will be June 30th. We did adopt the new pay study and employee compensation plan. We talked about that last week and the week before. That is coming in at a cost of $1.4 million.
Okay. All right, let's stop
Yeah.
on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel, as a county commissioner, I'm interviewing you now.
City council.
City
Yeah.
council. All right. Did I say county commissioner?
You did.
I'm
That's all
sorry,
right.
city. I get y'all confused.
I
Yeah.
know.
All right. As a city councilman, do you sit there and look at that and say, this gets us up to snuff as far as comparison with other cities our size in the state of Tennessee?
Yes, based on we hired a third party people
check
that
this
specialize in this. They run a salary study. They picked cities our size, and they also did look at cities that are physically close to us, because if you live in Shelbyville, if you could drive there and work, they need to at least look at them. Now, they did not, even with that, they did leave out Murfreesboro and Franklin, because they know there's some that we just are not financially going to be able to
Right.
but they did look at, say, Rutherford County employee pay, because that's, I mean, if you live in Bedford County, you can drive to Rutherford County and work pretty easily. So that was it. They came up with this number. This is what we're going to fund. It's obviously, I'm there, and I'll just speak for myself as a council person. I'm not elected to represent, and this may or may not go well with my friends at the city, but the city employees.
Right.
I'm there to represent the constituents.
Well, that's exactly right.
However, and I talked about this last week, having city employees that are in there, that are qualified, that are doing a good job, that are happy with their job, helps the constituents, because you don't want to be in a wreck on Madison Street and get some guy that just came out of school being the one trying to save your life. You'd rather have somebody that's got some experience
Yeah.
showing up in the fire truck. You'd rather be over at the park system with some guy that's happy to do his job, helping you get in the pool, than some guy that's cranky and having a bad day. So there's a line there. If
Absolutely.
it gets to the point where we're looking at, hey, we need a huge tax increase, or hey, that's what the employees want, then it's a lot
Okay.
harder decision.
All
I've
right.
had an easier decision
Okay.
because this isn't putting a burden on the taxpayer. This is just
Okay.
getting us where we
So,
need to be.
all right. So
yeah.
if we're looking at 1.4 million, did you say?
Yeah, 1.4.
Okay. That's per year.
that is
going
per year.
forward.
That is
Okay.
per year.
So what does that do to us, let's say 3 years from now, budget wise? You don't know. You
You
can't
don't,
foresee
you
the
don't
budget.
know. I mean, you're hoping for, obviously, there's going to be
Revenues.
some growth from just people moving in. The city is actually majority funded, not from property tax anymore. It's majority funded from sales tax. So
Okay.
you're kind of counting
All right.
on the economy continue to smoke along. If the economy bellies up for 2 years in a row, then you're in a world of hurt.
All right. So you look at all this within one big package, and you say everybody's got to support local businesses
Yeah,
because that's who's paying the taxes.
that's who's paying those sales tax, or the people coming in to watch the Christmas light show. I mean, a combination.
People
but
coming
yeah,
here for the celebration. People coming
in
here
for-
all
yeah.
during the time, all during
Yeah.
the year for horse shows, for other events, whatever those are.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to keep our dollars local and not drive to Murfreesboro and
Right.
to give our sales tax to their school system, to their police department, to their fire department. Even though
Right.
they're doing a great job, but they've got
Yeah.
plenty of people over there to sustain.
They got a lot of people.
They
that
don't
love
need
it.
help from us.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
This is one thing that we have to realize, that when we go to another town and give our money, not to say we don't want to visit occasionally, but on a repeated basis, we're taking money out of our police department, out of our fire department, out of our city structure. When you're doing it inside the city limits, it's collected here. We get part of it back.
right. Yeah, it goes to city services. So that's just the math. So that's all tied back in. And I didn't touch on this during the 50-year plan. One of the tourism aspects that they're looking at, and this is with the soccer park, is this sports tourism that's growing.
Yeah.
Where you have the tournaments, you try to get the families to come in from out of town, spend the weekend, play soccer, baseball, whatever the tournament is, and you hope they go eat at Chick-fil-A, you hope they go eat at wherever, McDonald's, stop at 3 or 4 of our 8 coffee shops, whatever they
Yeah.
do while they're here in town, because that's all sales tax dollars going
Yep.
back into the local services.
Yep.
So yeah,
Well,
so that's
that y'all took a leap of faith that everybody's going to support local when you voted for this, or when you vote for this going
right.
forward.
Yeah, when we vote for this at the end of the month. Yeah. So
I mean,
even though we
you're-
adopted it at this meeting, actually none of this is
You have a lot of
official
confidence
until
that,
June
that
30th.
our local consumers are going to start coming back, Josh.
I think good things are happening. I think we're moving
Okay.
in a positive direction.
All right.
So, yeah.
Very good.
So so that's what I'm hoping. But back to my point I was making there a little bit, which is if we do get to that tipping point, as it were, where I've got to make that decision between am I hurting the taxpayer or am I helping the employees? Much as I love our employees and I've got to
Yeah.
be good friends with a number of them, ultimately I didn't get elected into that seat to take care of them.
Yeah.
I got elected in the seat to take care of taxpayers.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that was the oath. that they
Speaking
made
of the
me.
taxpayers,
So, yes.
Anita Epperson was asked, "What is Bedford County average income?" Okay, here's the average income and the median income are two different things. Okay, the documentation that you're going to find on all these websites, and even our own, at one time, our city website and our county website had median income. Median income takes the highest and lowest and splits the difference, except for the outliers.
Right.
It takes the top weighted average and the lower weighted average, and it comes to a median. Average would be you take all incomes, divide it by the total number of jobs, add the
Yeah.
total, and you're going to get a lower number than what Anita's got posted here. That's not average. If you look at median income at $67,000 per household, $32,000 individual. But if you took the average income in the city of Shelbyville, the average median, the average income, we figured it down to about $18 an hour, and that comes from a lot of crazy twisting of the numbers based on the total number of jobs here, total number of jobs out, and kind of figuring out your total population based on your unemployment rate. Okay, that number comes down quite a bit, and your household income in the city is probably going to be in the $45,000 range average. Okay, you got some that are living on Social Security that's figured in there. Okay,
Right.
those that granny that we're trying to help, she's making $20,000 a year. Okay, that brings that average down. So you look at our average versus our median; it's two different numbers. So
Well, and a
we-
lot of times the discussion too, and I know you used the word there, but sometimes it's per capita and sometimes it's household. You
Right.
gotta also figure that's a different number
Right.
as well. Are
because
you looking at individual people or are
Right.
you looking at a household?
well, she's
So,
got down
yeah.
45 as the median. It's actually not average, but median state income is $45,000.
Is that household?
That's
or
per
person?
capita per
That's per capita.
person,
Yeah.
and 65,000 in Bedford County. But when you come to the city, you've got a lot lower demographics there.
Yeah.
So we're working on in the bottom 20% of that demographic, if you want to look, say it, call it that.
Yeah.
We're in the bottom 20% in the state of Tennessee because naturally you got other places that are blowing up, like Williamson County, Rutherford County, Davidson County. Those incomes are a lot higher.
Right.
And unfortunately, we are where we are. We're in rural Tennessee.
Yeah, we're in a rural small
Yeah.
town. I'm here on purpose, so I chose to be here. So, couple other things we voted on at City Council, just real quick. The River Walk, River Overlook project that my friend Bobby Turnbow on the council thinks he's never going to walk on because it is once again dragging out, and they've come up short. They needed more work than they thought, so we had to come up with another 95,000.
Okay, when
for
they
that, so.
who are they?
This is the engineering company in this
Okay,
case.
they're
So,
not that. We're not talking about a construction company because they
We're
ain't
not even
turned the
to
ground
construction.
yet.
We're not even to
So
construction.
$95,000 more
Another
for an
$95,000.
engineer.
For more engineering. So, and I heard rumor there may be another property.
Is this
issue
gonna
that's
is this
come up,
gonna be the
so.
gift that keeps on taking?
We were told we were going to bid in the summer and be like our construction in the fall. But if the property thing I heard about drags us out, I'm losing faith. But we'll see. So we're still told we're going to bid this
Yeah.
summer. So,
Okay,
but
okay.
either way, we had to prove another 95,000 to keep it moving. So
At what time, Josh, does this come up for another $100,000? Are you too far in to say no now?
oh, it's way too far.
It's
This-
way
this
too
is a
far in. I mean,
multi-million-dollar
You could
deal.
end up
Yeah.
somebody coming up and saying we need $500,000.
I
What are you going to do?
Well, if they asked for that much, we would go back to the state. This engineering, you can't, but the construction part, we've actually gone back to the state multiple times.
I'm
We've gotten a
talking
bump
about
on
the
grant.
engineering. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the part that we have to come up with.
Right.
They say,
Yeah.
city, y'all are going to have to throw in $500,000 now because we miscalculated.
Well, they're not even quite to $500,000 total yet on the front end. But if they came back and doubled it, that would hurt.
Yeah.
But the construction costs, we've gone back several times to the state and gotten the grant increased. So last but not least, at that meeting, we did approve the bids on a new corporate hangar at the airport and the Shadeport hangar at the airport. So if you start flying your Shelbyville Now corporate jet into the airport, they got a hangar for you.
So
set.
my question is, corporate box hangar and Shadeport hangar, is this going to be used by MTSU or is this going to be used by private?
This is private. These, I believe, both of these are revenue generators. They lease these out, and they are hoping to make enough money off the leases to continue to expand and add additional hangars. So
Yeah.
these should pay for themselves and help expand the airport more. And this all involves private jets, private airplanes, and stuff flying in and out. This has nothing to do with the educational side.
Okay,
of it.
there was
So,
talk of possibly another runway.
eventually, possibly for MTSU to use as their primary deal, but
I mean,
that's
you're
well
looking at
down the
between
road.
45 to 60 trainers once they get everything in place.
To get
They
on
would
planes
have
and
to.
stuff.
They would have to put another. Well, that's not going to change the flight pattern and the traffic in the sky, but it
Yeah.
would alleviate some of the issues on the ground.
Yeah. So they may get there eventually. Back in the day, they were talking to, and this was a multi-year that I've never heard again about. Weren't they talking about a tower too?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to
they're
be the
talking about a
FAA
tower,
will
I
have
think,
to
at
do
some
that.
point.
Yeah.
So yeah. So a lot of things happen at the airport. It's running and gunning. And with that, I'm going to circle back around to Wednesday because there's something I didn't put on my list, and I thought thought in my head, I'm going to talk about it because it was mentioned publicly. So after the part of the reason I was on the square for 7 hours, my lunch event. So I did breakfast, then I did like a brunch thing, and then a lunch.
Right.
The lunch event was our Speaker Pro Tem from the House, Pat Marsh, was speaking. And since he publicly announced, I'll go ahead and throw this out because this is a topic that we've not covered in a while. Tennessee Downs. They are working, the state is working with them to get the last pieces of infrastructure funding. It has held up for years. And supposedly there's motion. I actually was handed and flipped through. They've got new renderings, new information. All this will be announced in a big announcement at some point, probably next year, I would think at this point. But because this was presented by our Pat Marsh at the Rotary thing, and there was only a handful of us there. So if you weren't in Rotary, you didn't hear it. But the state has come up with some money, and they're going to help with infrastructure and that project.
What infrastructure? Was it water?
Sewer.
Sewer.
There's
Okay.
a sewer issue, getting sewer to that property. The state is looking to cover most, if not all of
So
that
that
cost.
our sewer lines run right along 231 to an extent. So this would extend
Extend it up
to get it to them
to that
to allow
property.
them to build their campsites, probably.
Well,
I know they had
no,
a-
this is not campsites. This is the track, which we're not. It's not a
Right,
racetrack.
not a racetrack.
It's
the
a
private driving
the
track.
driving track,
Road
and then
course.
these are garages
Right.
with condos units. And we found this out during the B-Cut stuff a few months ago. That a number of 200 and some units.
Yeah, but there was a
of-
campground, an RV park in that plan at one time.
I didn't have enough time with the
Okay,
renderings
so
to look at that. But
I
the main
assume that-
idea
okay.
is the
I assume then the investors
Yeah.
have lined back up
yes.
after this.
Yes, everything is. I'm told everything's in place. The last piece of the puzzle is going to drop soon. Pat Marsh already got us a big check, and there's a second one they're working on. Once all that comes together, there will be a big announcement, and it'll probably be next year. But there was an announcement at this, which is why I don't
So-
feel bad talking about it now.
So then Tennessee Downs is back on the table. We can keep
Yeah.
our eyes on that. That'll be interesting to watch how it unfolds.
And the good thing about this, if say it all comes together, once you've got sewer running up that corridor all that way up, that opens up a big stretch of 231. Good, depending on your outlook. Do you want to look like South Church Street in Murfreesboro, which is what the other end of that road
Okay,
looks
so
like.
it stops
But
at about Newton Nissan now, right?
I'm trying to think how far it
Harts
goes.
Chapel Road.
They've
To that corner
expanded
right
to
there.
where because the MTSU thing, they had to expand up to
Right.
the MTSU deal. So somewhere in that general area,
Right.
around where the airport is there. So
So that's what, 2 more miles.
it's a stretch. Yeah, it's a stretch. So, but all that stretch then would be prime real estate for commercial, especially once you've got the
Would
flight
this-
school operating
all right,
with
so
students and teachers.
The question will be, will that sewer go just to that one side of the road, or will it expand on both sides?
I would assume they're going to run one to begin with, but and
They'd have
I
to-
know nothing about sewer,
they'd
but
have
I
to
would
cut
think you
across
could
the
cut.
highway.
I would think you could cut out
Whew.
if you needed to.
I wouldn't want to pay for that.
Yeah.
Man. All right.
So, but it's it's happening. That's what I'm told. So it was announced at the Rotary luncheon. So I'm reporting it. So
Yep.
that's what we heard. So with that, I think that is all that I want to cover from the past week. We got a light week coming up, but let's hear from our sponsors one more time, and then we will we'll dive back into
All right.
what's happening
And we'll
next week.
get some previews coming up.
Yep.
Be right back.
For clear vision and trusted care, choose Cutting Edge Optical. We offer comprehensive eye exams powered by 2020 exams, expert contact lens fittings, and a wide selection of quality frames to match your style and budget. Need glasses fast? We even offer same-day eyeglasses to keep you seeing clearly without the wait. Our experienced team is committed to personalized service and helping you see your best every day. Visit Cutting Edge Optical at 1114 North Main Street in Shelbyville, or call 931-488-5778 to schedule your appointment today.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
When you're ready to buy or sell in Middle Tennessee, you want someone who knows this community inside and out. Meet Diane and Madison Arnold, Shelbyville's trusted real estate team with decades of local experience and award-winning results. Whether it's finding your dream home, pricing your property to sell, or navigating every step of the transaction with confidence, they're with you from start to finish. As part of Coldwell Banker Southern Realty, they pair hometown expertise with powerful market tools to help you move with confidence. Call Diane and Madison today and experience the personal service and local knowledge that makes all the difference.
All righty. Welcome back in here with the news that matters, the weekend wrap up. We had a little glitch there during our commercial. I don't know exactly if anybody got dropped, but we apologize if we did. Looks like everybody's still on. Josh, what's coming up this week?
The big one tonight, Ross, 5 o'clock, ice cream supper. All kinds of different flavors of homemade ice cream. I believe they had some burgers and stuff last year as well. So I've been checking my weather. I don't think it's supposed to rain. I'm not an official weather forecaster.
You're not.
Don't take any of this to heart. But I did open my app and I didn't see rain showing them. But either way, I will be there. I will be eating homemade ice cream. It will be good. I would encourage everybody to come out. It is a fundraiser. They have it there once a year. It's their big event. That is their community center out in Ross. It's a little bit out there, but it's not so far. I looked it up again this year. I think it takes me 25 minutes to get there from my house in the city out to Ross. So
let me tell you what you need to hunt up, Josh.
Yeah.
If you get to the ice cream there, you need to check out all the flavors.
Yeah.
And if somebody has made the Wendy's Frosty ice cream, you need to try it.
Wendy's Frosty. Okay.
Yes,
I'll look
there's
for
a
that on the
special
list.
recipe. You can find it. It's got like Cool Whip and Eagle Brand milk and chocolate milk and all this stuff in it. And it tastes just like the Wendy's Frosty. If you like Wendy's Frosty. Now, if you don't like that, forget it.
Then there's no even point. Okay, I got you. As far as meetings, Tuesday evening, the county commission members will be at the monthly county committee meetings, and they put the agendas online, and there ain't nothing on there.
There ain't nothing on there.
I guess we're in budget season, we're in election season, we're in whatever season. There are zero what I would call business items on there. It's just the monthly reports from the different departments. And then I think they do vote to approve their minutes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's no action items on there to speak of. So honestly, I think it'll probably be a pretty short set of meetings. So it's 3 meetings back to back. I'm going to predict under an hour. It could even go faster than that, the way the agendas look. But
under an hour.
Yeah. And
that's your prediction.
That's my early prediction.
Okay.
Tuesday evening. Yeah. County committees.
Can
Historic courthouse, second floor.
Okay.
So
all right.
yeah, 5 o'clock. So Thursday evening is the school board meeting. Obviously, there's no school going on at summertime, so I'm also feeling like that one may not be quite as long as usual. Can't be an attendance report because nobody's attending right now. There's no school going on. So,
well, you got summer school taking place.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I guess. I don't know if they do a summer school attendance report, but I will be there because it's always continues to be the school budget is the biggest part of any local budget in the county.
Right.
So that is where the
Has
biggest
that been
chunk of
has
money.
that been handed over to the county yet in their packet?
Yes, yeah, that came out. We did, I should have said that. We got at the Tuesday county commission meeting, the big fat binders were handed out. I got my big fat binder. Since we're talking school board real quick, I'll just make a side point that I was going to work in somewhere and didn't. A number that stood out to me in the big fat binder was our maintenance of effort number for schools has climbed to, and I'm working off memory, I'm going to go off the top of my head, I think I'm going to be close, $22.4 million, maybe, somewhere in that neighborhood. That is the number that the county has to continually spend from now and forever and ever at a minimum. And that number goes up every year. Usually.
What if your enrollment goes down?
There may be some room for wiggle room if your numbers go down.
It looks like they do that per student instead of mass amount.
No, they do a mass amount. And the reason I'm speaking on that particular number is we don't spend that much on operations locally. We spend about $13 million. What happened 2 years ago was there was a decision made that they were short 1 year on hit and maintenance of effort, and they rolled in the debt payment, the 151, the debt service account, and counted that towards their maintenance of effort to hit their number. However, that has backed us, the Bedford County school system, into a corner in that now we're locked in to needing to make $8 or $9 million a year in debt payments towards school forever and ever.
Boy, that's going to tear into that
So
debt
if-
services.
Well, if they pay a bond or two off and they don't have that, they're almost locked into having to continue to build schools. Because
Oh my gosh.
if not, you're going to have to make up those millions over on the operations side, and we don't put 20 million a year into operations.
Yeah.
We're putting about 13. I don't remember this year's number, 13, 14 million.
I've
So,
said this before.
Yeah.
I don't look for schools to increase in enrollment. I look for them to continue to decrease like the last couple of years we've had. I
Yeah.
think that trend continues for a lot of different reasons. I just think it's going to happen.
but either way, that maintenance of effort number is setting up what I would call a fiscal cliff there. At some point, it's going
A
to hurt.
cliff?
At some point, it's going to hurt. It may not hurt in 2 years. It may be 5 years, maybe 10. At some point, that's going to cause a problem, and somebody's going to have to deal with it.
Ugh.
Yeah. Just thought I'd point that out.
Thanks
a little
for
happy
that.
news to
Lord,
wrap
thanks,
up the
Josh.
show. So,
I'll lay awake at night now.
thinking about the maintenance effort.
Yeah,
So,
I'll be
yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah. So, but with that, that's it. I mean, really kind of a light week as far as meetings go. I don't have any city. I think we're doing like a benefits meeting, employee benefits meeting, but there's
Yeah.
no big city events this week. So meeting wise, so I may get a bit of a break hopefully. So
All right.
yeah, I'll be full of ice cream anyways. I won't want to do a lot of
Well,
stuff,
remember,
so.
the Frosty.
The frosty flavor. I'll look for the
You
frosty.
got to do
flavor.
it. You got to
Okay.
try it.
All
At
right.
least one spoonful.
At least one.
Guys,
All right.
thanks for watching. Again, we thank our sponsors. Thanks for playing along. Thanks for the comments. We'll see you